Hello, family, and happy Tuesday. I don't know if you know the definition of emerging, but it means to bring something to the forefront, to bring something into view, to distinguish or transition something from being maybe not apparent to prominent. And today we're going to talk about three traits of an emerging leader, how to identify someone who is emerging as a leader. We'll be right back after the intro. Hey family, happy Tuesday. I am your podcast host, linnitahosten, founder of Vocal Value, where, I get the privilege of training emerging leaders to become better communicators at home, at work, and with themselves. And for tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about three traits of an emerging leader. We're preparing for an emerging leader series that's launching in July. So tonight is just a teaser of that content. So I want to share this with you. Three traits of an emerging leader. The thing about leadership, I feel like that I would say discourages people from pursuing it is the increased responsibility on self-development and on the development of others. The growth and grooming of others becomes a task. It's a lot different from just leading yourself or being a part of something. But when you become leader, you're ever evolving for you, for the grooming of the organization, the group. And then also you're looking for what I would call opportunities to be a helping hand to help those whom are on your team. So three traits I want to give you tonight if you are looking to see, do I identify as an emerging leader, or am I working with an emerging leader? Is there someone on my team who is emerging that I can begin to groom? I want you to look for these three characteristics as you're considering them. All right, time clock is ticking because I'm trying to get to the point of practice and brevity where our episodes are 20 minutes or less. The goal is 15-minute marker. So let's see if I can get there tonight. All right, so the first character trait is you have a commitment track record, meaning when someone gives you responsibility or you're accountable to a project, an initiative, a group of people, you have a history of taking ownership of that thing and driving it to meet an end goal. So you have a history of commonly completing the things that you've been asked to do. Now, this might seem like a small thing, but I have found, at least in some of the roles that I lead in, people are eager for titles, or they're eager to lead, but possibly they underestimate the commitment that's necessary for them to reach the goal. And a lot of that looks like some of the attributes that we'll talk about today. And so I feel like having a commitment track record, when something is delegated to you or entrusted with you, you're able to move it through completion. And, I feel like this also has a lot to do with a person's self concept. We take on responsibility typically when you have a healthy self concept. You take on responsibility that you feel you can manage. And so when someone delegates something to you, someone whom is an emerging leader, I always say, like, these kinds of people are really in alignment with who they are, where it's easy for them to say, okay, yeah, I can do that, or I have the skill set, the capacity, or even the bandwidth to do that. That's something that I can do. Because when you own something, you're thinking about getting it to completion. And I feel like it's easy to say yes to something, but not always have maybe the maturity to assess your capacity and or your skill set to get that done. So an emerging leader, they have a track record of commitment. And when you look back at their track record, it's some pretty darn good results. All right, here's the second one. I feel like emerging leaders they're conflict communicators. They're not running from conflict. They understand that in order to build camaraderie or a sense of community, conflict may occur. And it's normal when we have a difference of opinions, a difference of viewpoints. But an emerging leader has mastered is a strong word, but they're not running from um, opposition. They're not running from um, things that are maybe contrary to their point of view. In fact, you may find that they're leaning into those perspectives to get additional insight. I think that's the power of group dynamics. You have a diverse set of skills and knowledge, and a really powerful or an emerging leader recognizes that and wants to harness it. I want to show this. This is a video of ministry group that I'm a part of at my church, and we meet every Sunday, and we huddle before we do our actual ministry activity. And I'm showing that because last Sunday, someone spoke up and said what they love about the community that we have is that communication, even if it's in conflict, we're discussing it as a group. So there's nothing that goes without being addressed, and questions are welcome to be brought. So no one is feeling fearful of asking something that may oppose leadership or oppose those who the majority in the room. And that's a really healthy space. Emerging leaders are, I would say, contributing to that kind of, I would say, healthy team dynamics. And here's the last character trait. I feel like emerging leaders are really great time organizers. And notice I didn't say time managers, because you can't manage time. Time is an indefinite existence. You can't stop it. You can't rewind it or fast forward it. You can only manage the time that was given to you. And I feel like an emerging leader is really good at thinking through their current load and assessing their availability of doing something or completing their projects. So, this time organization thing is also a project management skill. And when we're thinking about, identifying someone who's emerging as a leader, think about what they have said no to because they may not have been able to complete it timely. Or think about someone who may have come to you because they're not going to meet the deadline, but they were accountable to expressing that, or expressing or asking for an extension. And these are attributes that I feel like any person could possess, but I, even in my experience in not just ministry, but in the workplace and in business, hiring contractors, these are skill sets that are not always common, but they are skills that can be developed. And so I encourage you, if you are someone whom is emerging and maybe you identify with the commitment and the conflict, but the time thing is not your jam, then looking for ways to become better at managing your time. And I found this video on TikTok. I'm going to share it with you. Let's see what our TikTok friend has to say.
About time management that I discovered this year that's completely changed my life. Time management doesn't actually exist. The truth is this, it's not about managing your time, it's about managing yourself. You block time in your day that is non-negotiable. Mine is between 4 and 6 a.m. And I make sure that I do a boring task or an important task that I know is going to move me ahead in that time frame, with no distractions, no phone, no Instagram, just me and that task. I then go to a gym, crack on with the day, everyone else wakes up, and then life continues. I've seen more progress doing that in the last 6 months than I have in the last 40 years. Just learn how to prioritize tasks that are the most important and do the boring.
He was saying, do the boring work, do the things that you're not excited to do. But in the essence, what the video talked about was, well, he talked about several things, but one of the ones that really resonate with me is time blocking. So when you're organizing your time, and we're actually going to be talking about this in the series in July, there are things that you can do strategically to make sure you have ownership of the day. Now, we know that doesn't always go the way that we like it to go, but there are some parameters you can put in place so that it can go better than it would if you were not organizing your time. And if this is an area, if you identify as someone who wants to emerge as a leader, or you identify as someone who is emerging, but this is an area you need development in, I want you to join us for our series beginning in July. And you will find that we're going to work through these techniques. One of them being time blocking, habit stacking, throwing D's on the things that own our time. And you're going to have to come back to that one because that's my favorite one to teach on. But in essence, if you're going to emerge or be seen or And maybe not being seen is the goal that you have, but there's a next level for you in leadership, whether that be in business or in your organization or at work. What are some character traits that you can begin to display so that when the opportunity for promotion or election for board member roles, when they do come up, you're eligible. And not only that, you're competent. So when I think about a competent emerging leader, I think about someone whom is already exemplifying the ability to own their commitments. Like they have a track record of commitments. They also are really keen in communicating in conflict. They're not running from it. They're not afraid of it. In fact, they're embracing differences of opinion and maybe not opposing opinions that are different from theirs. And then finally, they've learned to organize their time. Time is something that we cannot get back. We cannot manage time. We can only organize it. They understand that concept, and there's some parameters that they put in place daily to make sure that that's done. Out of the three character traits, which one do you feel best resonates with you? I would love to see that in the comments. Drop it in the comments. Out of the three character traits, which one do you feel best resonates with you? And go the extra mile and share which one are you working to groom? Which one are you working to groom? I'll share that my favorite character trait is that communicating in conflict. I won't say I thrive in that space, but I'm walking to it. If I have the emotional capacity and the energy, that's not something I'm running from. But I always kind of assess like my current mood, the current load that I have. If I don't have the emotional capacity to be fully present and to be unbiased, then I'll have to hold off on the conversation. But I actually look forward to those kinds of dialogues. And I found that the more frequent I have hard conversations, the easier they are. And that's with family, friends. It's like a muscle, I always say in public speaking. You get better as you repeatedly do the skill. I feel like it's the same thing when you're communicating in conflict. You get better over time. All right, so those are our three character traits. And let me know what you thought about them. If there are others that you like to add, drop them in the comments. I read all of your comments. And I just wanted to share today we are pre recorded because by the time that you're watching this, I'll be traveling we have a contract, a state contract to do some late night job readiness workshops for that in between age group. And I'm excited about that. Hopefully that I'm not too sleepy. So send your prayers up for safe travels. I'll see you next Tuesday at 8 p.m. I love you. There is absolutely nothing you can do about it.